Guys, welcome back to Get Your Bell Rung Pro Wrestling Podcast. I am your host, KG. This is the after recap discussion. Today we're talking about the work rate trap, why great wrestling is ruining wrestling TV. Back with me, WCW veteran and author of Looking Up the Lights, Robbie Idol, and the co-host of Wrestling Memories on Sundays and a whole lot of other shit, the Grizzled Vet. Gentlemen, welcome back. Let's get into this. This is something that I was really kind of looking forward to talking about. This is the question. And what we're going to do is I'm going to give some examples, and I want to hear what you guys think. The central question is this: is the pursuit of 5-star matches actually hurting wrestling television, or is great in-ring wrestling still one of the most important things keeping fans engaged? Start with you, Grizzle.
Is 5-star wrestling built? Oh boy. With the current state of fans, I don't think so. I don't think they care about great. If they get it, great. But I think today's fan is more interested in characters and stories and getting to go, yeet, 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 and all that stuff. So I think this current crop of fans, you don't have to have a 5-star match. If they
Robbie?
get one, cool.
Yeah, Robbie.
Yeah, kind of agree with that. I mean, I think it's more about you got your basement dwellers that are still eating hot pockets in their mom and dad's basement there and doing the Oba walk as he's coming out, and I think also the other part that hurts is I think today's fan wants instant gratification.
See, and I'm opposite. I think that fans care more about having these 5-star matches with these, thank you, son, with these great spots in it, right, than they do character development. I think they're more in tune to, again, we didn't have these great matches. We don't care about storylines or great development in these characters. And I also think it also depends on which promotion you're talking about. I think AEW fans really care about the 5-star matches even more so than WWE fans. I think WWE fans might care a little bit more about the storyline than AEW fans do. Grizzle, you shake your head?
Yeah, because I think it's going to be me and Robbie versus you this in this entire discussion tonight. But no, especially now with the advent of social media, fans are used to seeing something they can see like in a 3-minute or 2-minute TikTok, and you can see a promo or an in-ring segment or a spot in a 2-minute segment. You can't see a 5-star match in a 2-minute TikTok video. And that's because that's what wrestling fans are conditioned to now, is that quick consumption, 2 to 3 minute, clip. I'm going to admit it. Most of the time with Monday Night Raw, if I don't get a chance to watch it, I go on WWE and I just click on all the videos. And through those videos, I can get the feel of what happened that night. I see the spots because that's what fans are conditioned to. And that's what WWE and AEW are doing. You say AEW fans are conditioned more, especially great wrestling. No, in my opinion, AEW fan wants that big spot. That's why Darby Allin is so over and things like that. They want spots. They don't. If they get a 5-star match, great, but they want spots because they.
But those are the spots. But those are the spots that they think makes the 5-star matches. The more spots you have, the more Dave, whatever's the Meltzer is saying 5-star match with AEW. That's what fans care about. Robbie,
go ahead, Grizz. Go ahead.
Yeah.
I was gonna say Meltzer can give 5 stars to everything AEW does. That man is on Tony Khan's freaking payroll somewhere.
Yeah.
Everything
Mike Willingham
is 5 stars with Meltzer.
Mike Willingham, one of our faithful viewers, says this is great. Thank you, brother.
Oh,
Thank
it's
you
only
for
gonna get
watching.
better.
Yeah. But
go ahead, Robbie.
I think AEW fans are about all the like Vet said, the spots, that big spot. They're about big spots. I give maybe the WWE fan is maybe a little bit geared more to a storyline on it, but yeah, AEW, I think that they've been conditioned for that big spot and stuff. Again, you got two different crowds though, you
Right.
like two different set of fans. Whereas I think some of the guys that watch or like AEW are not, thrilled with WWE and vice versa. I mean, and we've talked about it on the podcast, you and I have. WWE's over here, AEW is over here, and neither one's in the middle, I mean, and as much as yes, the violent matches and stuff, but I do think certain matches, AEW goes a little bit further than what you want to go, and WWE doesn't take it there, so I mean, it's just, how it is.
Let's go to the first example. We're going to go right into the Bloodline. The Bloodline is a strong example of character-driven wrestling television because the audience was invested in the people and relationship before they ever got to the match. You had Roman Reigns, the Usos, Sami Zayn, Paul Heyman. They created a story built around family, loyalty, betrayal, power, and manipulation. The audience wasn't simply watching to see who would have the best match. They were watching because they wanted to know what was going to happen next. Here's the question. Robbie, go to you first. Could the Bloodline have become as successful without the character development and storyline?
No, I don't think so. I mean, because you look at how long did it take for Roman to get over?
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, even it took like him coming back and saying, hey, I was away because I had an issue, whatever was it, testicle cancer or whatever he had, and now the WWE.
He has leukemia.
Okay, leukemia, whatever. He had something. I don't know what he had.
Leukemia, cancer, the ball. Same.
Hey, it's all the same. It's all the same. It's all the same, Hey,
if I had to choose, I think I'd rather have leukemia than testicle cancer. Thank you.
Guys, look. You only get factual shit here. Okay, real quick, because I fucked up last week and I said it was one man gang that had a heart attack instead of fucking Slick. Jesus fucking Christ.
Right? See maybe
man, he looked great on that video the other day.
See, maybe I should have tried to play that angle boy back in 92, like try to come back and say, hey, I'm coming back from MS. Maybe I would have been over, but that's how, but up until that, till the leukemia thing, everybody hated Roman.
Yeah.
I mean, so it took for something tragic for him to get over.
Right. Grizzle, could the Bloodline have become as successful without the character development and storyline?
Like Robbie said, absolutely not. Because the Bloodline didn't have a lot of matches. Roman never defended the title. The Bloodline story was all in-ring stuff. For example, look at Sami Zayn. That segment where he said, Jay's not feeling Usi, and then Jay Uso breaks and starts laughing, and even Roman is cracking up. That video was played over and over and over and over and over again,
right.
And it was stuff like that the people wanted to see. That's what got the storyline over. Nobody gave a shit about the matches. Without the character storylines and all that, no, the Bloodline never would have gotten over.
What made people mostly invested in these characters, Grizzle?
I think, honestly, the Bloodline just kind of played out like a giant soap opera. And if you look at wrestling, that's what it is. It's a male soap opera. It's guys in tights. I think the creative and the story, and they had a great storyline. I think that's what kept the fans interested. And once again, back to my TikTok analogy, they were able to take these Bloodline segments and reduce them into 2-3 minute clips so people could watch them whenever they wanted. They could save them on their file and watch them whenever they wanted. Those Sami Zayn clips got played like crazy. Jay Uso, I don't give a damn what the Tribal Chief said. People watch that video constantly. The Bloodline was one of the best storylines in WWE because of the characters being creative behind it. The matches didn't mean shit.
Robbie, same question. What made people emotionally invested in those characters?
You, Sammy played a big part in it. You have to give him credit. I mean, just the way that he came off, even though he wasn't like a Samoan or whatever, but the same thing, like what Vet said, when he came up with that line, I mean, God, you heard, like I knew talking to people like I knew from in the grocery store that were wrestling fans that worked there and stuff. Hey, how funny was that Sammy said, oh, not feeling Usi? And, I mean, like 4 people that I know that are big wrestling fans at the grocery store where I shop at and where my wife works at, and they knew I wrestled. So, they would talk to me about it. Oh, did you see that clip with Sammy and stuff? So, I mean, Sammy played a big part of it. He helped. And, for whatever reasons, Jay or Jimmy was over, and the same thing with Roman, Heyman, they all played parts in it. But if you had to say it, my opinion, I think Sammy played a big part. Like the comedy stuff just was big.
Right. I agree. Next example is Austin and McMahon. They demonstrate how powerful a simple television conflict can become. The story didn't require 30-minute wrestling matches every week. The audience wanted to see Austin get revenge. They wanted to see that what would Vince do next. The anticipation itself became part of the entertainment. Here's the question, Robbie. Robbie will go with you. I can't keep track. Why did people tune in when Austin and Vince weren't even wrestling?
Because that was entertaining, and it was like, again, go back to what Vet said. It's a male soap opera, and each week, okay, is Vince going to fire Stone Cold, or when Vince was in the hospital and he hit him with the bedpan, and it just was very entertaining. So you wanted to see, okay, what are they going to do this week now? Where are we going with this? And like you had, where Vince would try to bring somebody to go after Stone Cold, and Stone Cold would drive the beer truck and he soak them with the, hose them down in the middle of the ring. Just all the stuff they did was just very, very entertaining. And you kind of, each week you were tuning in to see, okay, what crazy stuff we're going to do now,
Grizzle, same question. Why did people tune in when Austin and Vince weren't even wrestling?
I read this question in your lineup thing and said have an answer prepared, and I put mine together so quickly. The thing about wrestling is people don't just watch it just to be entertained. They watch it as an escape. They watch it as being able to, I want to be able to do that. And Robbie, KG, I tell you this right now, I know I've had it. I've had a boss at work where I just want to go, fuck you. I want to kick him in the stomach. I want to piss in his coffee for his Kramer and go, here. I can't do that though. But here's Stone Cold Steve Austin, and he's telling the boss, fuck you. And he's giving him the stunner. And a guy's watching it, getting to kind of live out that, God, I wish I could do that to my boss. And that's what it was. It was a chance for an escape. We all had a boss or a manager that we just were like, oh, God, fuck you. And they did everything they could to get to you. And there was nothing you could do about it. Austin got to do something about it. The boss tried to fuck with him. Austin got to fight back. And the fan guy behind it, I think mostly would be the guy fan. If you look at it, women were not into the Austin storyline. That was a male-dominated, driven storyline because guys wanted to tell their boss, fuck you, and put their boot straight up their fucking ass. And Austin allowed them to have that escape. God, he's getting to do that. Oh, my God. And then you go to work and go, fuck, I can't do that. But you knew you got to watch Austin do it. And that's what it fed into. It gave them that fantasy of, fuck, I'd like to do that to my boss.
Grizzle, can a great wrestling rivalry succeed primarily through character interaction and storytelling?
Yes, I think we saw that with Austin and McMahon. They didn't have a lot of matches. They had physical interaction. Austin or McMahon would take a stunner. He would take the bedpan to the head, but there weren't a lot of matches. All the Austin McMahon storyline was between those two was backstage and in-ring type of stuff where Austin would get his comeuppance. It was the other wrestlers in the corporation or whatever they called them that provided the matches. Austin McMahon was all storyline and all promo and stuff like that. There was a match or two thrown in there, but yeah, no. So that's a perfect example of it. Same thing with D-Generation X, DX versus McMahon. How much physical injury did they have with McMahon? Not much,
Right.
but they dropped things on his on the limo. They had the poo on the Spirit Squad and McMahon and all that. They had Austin, DX got kicked out by McMahon. You're not you're not allowed in the building. So what they do? They threw a picnic out in the parking lot. There was no physical interaction between DX and McMahon, but they had such great storyline and such great comedy behind it with creative. Fans didn't give a shit. They were having fun. Okay, you're not going to let DX in the building. What are they going to do now? Austin's going to get to McMahon. We're going to throw Shamrock in there first. Now he's going to get to him. Then what's he going to do to McMahon? So, yeah, those two examples right there. Pretty much anything involving McMahon, you didn't have to have McMahon be physical in a match. You just had to have that wrestler wanting to get to Vince.
Rob, same question. Can a great wrestling rivalry succeed primarily through character interaction and storytelling?
Yeah. And I mean, even if you go back a little bit, I mean, they had matches, but a lot of the stuff you go back to like my era and look like with the Four Horsemen and Dusty, where they, hey, we're waiting for Dusty out of the bar or whatever, Dusty's coming out of the restaurant. So, yeah, but I mean, and then Flair and Dusty would have the matches and stuff, but it was a lot of the, that rivalry with Flair and Dusty and the Horsemen and stuff like that. And that, that went over, and that was from back in the day. So, yeah, you could do that. And I mean, even if you go back even further, like when I was a kid and watched, you had Terry and Dusty. Mm-hmm. A lot of that interaction, like the promos and stuff like that with them and stuff.
Right. Starting with you, Robbie, has modern wrestling lost some of that ability to make fans care about what happens outside the ring?
I'm going to say yes and no, if it makes sense. And part of the reason would be social media. Mm-hmm. It's just because, like, back in our era, we didn't have cell phones. You didn't have internet. You didn't have YouTube, so we talked about it where, like, the stuff going on, now you have at the end of the show, you have the big melee and stuff. Today, everybody's got their cell phone, so now you see it on the internet.
And I would answer this way. One, as I said at the beginning, I think it depends on what promotion. I think with AEW, yes. Even with WWE, maybe a little, because even us, right? All three of us are kind of from the same generation of professional wrestling. 80s, 90s, the NWO era, the Attitude Era. How many times on this podcast do we grumble and say, WWE started with another promo, or they ended with another promo instead of a match? When in our reality, if you think about it, especially during the NWO era, especially during the Attitude Era, there were more promos than matches back then like there are today. But yet today we complain about they start with a promo and they end with a promo. Grizzle?
What was your question?
The question, has modern wrestling lost some of that ability to make fans care about what happens outside the ring?
I don't think so. I think they just have new avenues to create interest. Robbie mentioned social media. Let's go back to when we had the whole thing with the boss, whatever, and the final boss. You had The Rock. The beatdown that Cody received when he whipped him you didn't see that on TV. You saw that on social media. And the fans flocked to it, and it brought him back because they wanted to see what Cody was going to do. Same thing when Kevin Owens did the package powder and put him out. That was after the show. They were able to use social media. They're able to use social media and the fact that the fans want that 3-minute satisfaction to go, okay, here's a 2-minute video of The Rock whipping Cody's ass out in a raining parking lot and whipping him and the blood on the weight belt and everything. And the fans are like, whoa, and they wanted to go on the TV to see what was going to happen. I think they have the ability to create the interest and build it because they have new avenues of ways to do it, which is, the TikTok and the Facebook and the Instagram reels and all that. They have a new way to do it because, like I said, wrestling fans nowadays are more of a quick result, 2-3 minute dose of wrestling. And I think WWE is the best at using that with all the backstage after the show went out stuff that you don't get to see that, cameras leaked this. No, cameras didn't leak that. Cody and Rock went back. Okay, it's time to film. Let's go. And they turned it on. But they built something because they have that avenue to give those fans that 2-3 minute, soundbite instead of here, watch Raw for 2 hours to get something. They can go, here's some kibble. There you go. And then now bring them back to the TV.
Wayne, this guy's a professional wrestler. He says, unfortunately, fickle fans say they want storylines, but when they get them, they get mad before the story really gets going.
Because of that instant gratification that they want. Once again, like I said, there's that, but it's also the negative side of it. They want the storyline, but they want it now. They don't want to wait. They don't want it to build. And that's that instant gratification that they've become used to. Guys like us, we're used to a storyline thing. Shit, look how long it took us to get to, Savage and Hogan at WrestleMania 5. That built for a fucking year. I'm surprised that The Rock and Cena were able to build for a year to go to WrestleMania because that was at the time when the fans were starting to kind of become more of a they want it now type of thing. So we had to wait for storylines. Sting took 18 months before he got a hold of Hogan.
Right.
But
nobody would watch that now.
But if you even go back to the first WrestleMania, think about the build up with Hogan and T against Piper and Orndorff, like that. But what was it, a couple months maybe? But they were entertaining. It was just everything they did was entertaining. More so than like some of the, let's just take Cody and Punk, the promos and stuff. They're boring. They're just not entertaining where each week you were tuning in to see, okay, what's Orndorff and Piper and Orton going to do? What are they going to do now? Where is it? Like the stuff they did in the gym and, stuff like that was great, and that was way back then. And I mean, so even like you looked at with the Horsemen and stuff like that, the way everybody came off, the promos were just, they keep you interested because they had that way. Flair had the way to come across to you that his promos were great. And even like Piper and Orndorff and Hogan's and all that, you just, the buildup. And same like him saying with the Rock and stuff, the Rock, the way they come off. Some of the stuff today, just some of the guys are just boring with it.
Yeah. But speaking of The Rock, let's talk about The Rock, Hulk Hogan, Ric Flair. These wrestlers demonstrated the importance of having a character that audiences immediately understood. You didn't need to explain why The Rock was entertaining. You didn't need to explain why Hulk Hogan was a major attraction. You didn't need to explain Ric Flair's personality. Their character created interest before the bell even rang. Here's the question, Grizzle. Can a wrestler with an incredible personality become a bigger star than a wrestler with a superior athletic ability?
Absolutely. Here's an example. You guys are going to hate my example, but here's an example. Who's very nice, very evil. He is a character-driven person that the fans fucking love. He gets in the ring and his matches are pathetic, but he doesn't have to have great matches. It's the character. And same thing with another guy you don't like currently. Say his name and he appears. People love Joe Hendry because of the songs and say his name and he appears and he's there because he's got some personality. In ring, But you can absolutely have someone go over by personality and character over wrestling ability.
Robbie?
Yeah, I mean, he gave you two prime examples. I mean, as much as we piss and moan and bitch about Danhausen, you have to give them credit for, yeah, I mean, could he draw a crowd in the indie circuit, like what we say in the gymnasium? Maybe because it's Danhausen now, because he's got that big following and stuff. But as far as like his in-work stuff, he's just average, if that. But his character's so far over, you have to go, got to give it to you, though. You're making money. You found something that people want, and you got a big promotion to push you. I mean, could he carry like my jockstrap, Bob's jockstrap, Rick Ryder's jockstrap to the arena back in the day? No. But guess what? He's more popular than we are, I mean, and he's making more money than we ever did. Right. So you have to, go, not fond of the guy, but you know what? I give you all the credit in the world because you knew how to push yourself and you got over, and that's what it's about.
Normally, I wouldn't put a comment like this up here, but Robbie, I'm gonna let you go at it first. David Campbell, it's a rigged match. It's not a real sport.
Yeah, it's not a real sport. Obviously, you've never been in the ring. Yeah, it may be predetermined, but do you know how athletic and how talented you have to be? Yes, there may be a few people that will take a Danhausen and stuff and go, maybe the bottom rung on the ladder and stuff. But you even take guys that aren't over, and you take guys from my era, guys from the guys before my era, and even after, you take and stuff for what everybody has done. Hey, it's a one time. You get one shot doing stuff. Like I used to, like I did a few tables, ladders, and chairs matches and did a few things. And my buddies would ask me, well, how long did you practice it? And you go, you don't. Because if you practice it, you wouldn't have done it. So it's you're doing it on the fly, and to pull some of that stuff off that you do is just, you go, wow, I did it, afterwards when it's all said and done, and you look at, you did this stuff and you went, wow, that was, I did it without practicing and stuff, to say it's rigged. It's predetermined, right? But it's a one time, you get one shot in the ring,
Well, not to mention each bump, or at least a good bit of the bumps that you take, has been compared to, not by just wrestlers, I'm talking about by doctors, as being hit in an accident, in a car accident.
Right.
The same violence.
Yeah. I mean, take, even though it's coming, like take a power bomb. That's like getting hit from behind. Like being sitting in your car and somebody just running back into the back of your car when you hit the mat. I mean, there's stuff like that. And like I said, I don't know. I'd love to see WWE or AEW, their ladders and stuff like that. Like when I did the tables, ladders, and chairs match, there were nothing gimmicked.
Right.
Dear God, the first time I got hit with the ladder, I thought never again. I thought I had a concussion and I thought I had a broken nose.
Right. And look, I've put rings together and I've torn them apart. Wrestling rings. There's not springs underneath these rings. It's freaking the bouncy that you see is the freaking wood that you're bouncing off of.
Yeah.
So, I look, everybody, people who say that, I think everybody should really put together a wrestling ring at the minimum, right? Just so they could see exactly what you guys are in the ring with, right? It's yeah.
Well, I mean, for them to the funny part about it is to say, oh, it's rigged, it's this, it's that. Hit the ropes, hit the mat, hit the, even getting thrown out of the ring and taking how many of the people you see take bumps outside? Yeah, you got mat on there, but it's still concrete underneath. I mean, the toll that you put your body through is just crazy. And I mean, you see highlights from like indie stuff where we've talked about that before on shows where guys are doing big moves hoping to get that look or whatever. And I mean, I've been guilty of it in matches and stuff where where we fought through the crowd, you fought up bleachers, and then all of a sudden somebody smashes your head into the wall. And I've rolled down the whole from the top of the bleachers all the way down to the floor without getting, stuck in the middle or something. I mean, the toll on that. And I mean, you're talking about wooden bleachers and stuff, I mean, to say that, you obviously have no idea what the sport really is,
Yeah, I agree. Let's get back. I don't know why that was.
Hold on, I'd like to add something to that conversation. That it's a rigged sport. If it's a rigged sport, get in that fucking ring and do it your goddamn self. If it's rigged, KG and I should be able to do it. And I know I fucking can do it. And I'm pretty sure KG couldn't do it really well either. But since it's rigged, let me give my buddy a call who's in a wheelchair to let him know, hey man, it's all rigged. You're good. You were fine. Because of all the years he put through there, he's in a wheelchair now. But it's rigged. So, hey, let me give him a call tonight and be like, dude, you're good. It was rigged. Fuck off.
Yeah, well, and
let's explain to Dross before why he became a paraplegic.
Right. But in the same, and you saying that, I mean, and I will say this in Rick's defense, Rick went through 6 neck operations. Yeah. And I mean, and his 5th one, it was a 12-hour operation. So, if you think it's rigged, go give it a shot.
Do it yourself.
Yeah. Give it a shot.
Yeah. Let's get back to that second question. What makes a character memorable? What makes a character memorable to someone who isn't already a hardcore wrestling fan, Grizzle?
A look, a personality. My wife's not a big fan. I mean, she used to watch it back in the day. She doesn't watch it a lot now, but she'll see a guy like Obafemi come out and go, damn, if you got that look, something like that, or a guy like Javon Evans, when he does one of those moves where he flies over that top corner, you go, holy shit. It's things like that that'll pick up a fan's attention. It's not a hardcore because it's on, maybe not awe-inspiring, but it's like, wow, something like that exists. Because Obafemi, I've said it before, is a fucking, freak of nature. A guy like Obafemi does not exist or shouldn't exist. They have a video of him. I think is it shot put? I think it is.
Yep.
Dude, I couldn't throw a shot put across my freaking living room, and he hurled that thing however goddamn many feet. That just amazes me.
The problem is, and Biggie and I, when he was in Minnesota, had a conversation about this. Him and I were talking. I said, Biggie, I know everybody here is behind Oba. They changed his name. I said, I can never be a supporter of Oba. I can never be a fan. He's like, why not? I said, with the LSU. He's like, enough said. Oba went to the state of Alabama State. Because of that, can never get behind them.
I don't understand college rivalries.
It's fine.
They're diehards, but I've never understood college football rivalry.
It's fun shit,
college ball.
I guarantee you, if I was able to talk to Oba and I said LSU, he'd be like, "Oh, okay, I want to whip your ass," just having fun because of that rivalry.
Yeah,
Robbie, same question. What makes a character memorable to someone who isn't already a hardcore wrestling fan?
Like Grizzled said, your personality, your look. There's a look or whatever. I mean, I'm gonna go back. We're gonna look at Flair, and I mean, even you take even the guys that, here's this guy that's got money, he's got the look, he's got women. A lot of guys, I wish I was Ric Flair, or like an Austin Idol, or, guys like that. Or even you take like your Don Morocco or, Orndorff. It was that look, the personality, just the way that they conducted themselves,
Yeah.
Look at Sid. Look at a guy like Sid. Remember when Sid Vicious first showed up and everybody was like, holy crap. Because you had big guys. You did not have a big guy that looked like Sid. He got everybody's attention. Could he wrestle worth a damn? Not really. But, dude, that look put him on the cover of every fucking wrestling magazine on the planet.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and look, in no way, shape, or form am I saying the guy that I'm going to mention that his name was a household name like Hulk Hogan or even Ric Flair. But to a degree, he did have a household name that a lot of people, even people who weren't wrestling fans, recognize the name. JYD, the Junkyard Dog,
Oh yeah.
because of his charisma. And I would say that he wasn't he could wrestle, don't get me wrong, right? He's entertaining in the ring, but he wasn't the best. He wasn't one of the best. No one will ever say, my God, he was one of the best wrestlers that ever lived. No, but he had one of the best characters, and the character, his charisma is what made him remember, where people are going to remember him that aren't wrestling fans.
JYD was one of the original crowd participations.
Absolutely.
Who that? Who that thin dick and beat that dog? Fans love to chant that. Yeah. He had that before you had your Seth Rollins and your yes chants and all that. JYD had the fans chanting, who they think can beat that dog? You know?
Yeah. Which leads to the next question, Robbie. Does wrestling need more larger than life personalities today?
I'm going to say yes. I mean, you know, it just, because you would invest more if you had those guys. You don't have your Hogans. You don't. I mean, you have a couple. In my like, as far as that, like the Flairs and the Hogans and your Pipers and stuff like that, you have some guys, but not as big of a personality where you really were like, if they did force them down your throat, you were like, you enjoyed seeing them. You know, I mean, always, Flair was on all the time, but you loved his promos. You know, they were good. Same like Hogan, his, you know, same thing. Even like Orndorff, you know, and watching out of Tennessee, like Lawler and Idol and Tommy Rich, you know, those guys had that big personality, and they knew how to cut promos and how to get you invested in them.
Yeah. Grizzle?
Yeah, you need that larger than life. You need that character that people can get behind. You know, we just just Brock Lesnar. He's done. He said he's done. He's going back to Saskatoon. He's going to go hunt. He's going to go fishing. That's a big hole that we lost because Brock was an attraction. But what did we have now? We got Oba. Is Oba at Brock level now? No. Can he be? Yes. But we need that. Same thing with, you lost your Awesome. We don't have Rock. We don't have Hogan. We don't have even Triple H or Shawn Michaels, those guys. But now we've got like a Trick Williams. You got your Seth Rollins. You got a guy like a Javon Evans that are going to build up to get to that person. They don't have it yet, but they're going to build up to that because we need them. You've got to have that flamboyant, over the top character. They've got to be. But on the flip side of that too, you also got to have your Chad Gables and your Ilya Dragunovs and those guys, the guys that put in the wrestling matches, because you can't have all flash and no substance. Right. So you need to balance the ball. But yes, we definitely have to have it over the top. Imagine if we didn't have a replacement for Brock and there was just a giant hole where Brock was.
Right. Yeah. Guys, the next example is Kenny Omega versus MJF. And I'll tell you why this is an example. This is an important example because it challenges the idea that work rate itself is the problem. A major match involving established stars can attract an audience when there are meaningful stakes and anticipation behind it. It allows us to ask whether fans actually dislike long, high-quality matches or whether they dislike matches that feel meaningless. This is the question, Grizzle. Does Kenny Omega versus MJF prove that great wrestling can still draw an audience?
Yes. There is great. You can still draw an audience with great matches. And it's not just that, but we have, MJF and Ospreay when they went the hour or whatever. A guy like that. You can still have, look just recently in AAA, El Grande Americano versus OG El Grande Americano. People are still talking about that match. So you can still have great wrestling that's going to get someone's attention, because I guarantee you an entire arena full of people and hundreds of thousands of people or millions watching around the world, they were hooked for an entire hour by the Americano match.
And let me stop you right there. That's what I'm talking about, though, when I say sometimes it is the matches, because I'm only speaking for myself. That whole storyline I didn't care about. When they wrestled on Raw or SmackDown, I didn't care about those matches. That AAA match, I could go back and watch that match over and over and over because of how good that match was. It was that one match that hooked me.
Exactly. Yeah, and you mentioned you're talking Omega and MJF. Yeah, no, they're still because they've had a great match. I mean, MJF's had a lot of great matches with different people. You can still hook people with a great match, but you got to have a little sizzle to that steak. You can't just go, here's your plate of beef. No, you got to give a little sizzle to it. You got to give it that presentation. Put that parsley on it. Give it that. Give it the garnish.
Yeah, Robbie, same question. Does the Kenny Omega versus MJF match prove that great wrestling can still draw an audience?
Yes. Because, I mean, I know I've bitched about it and stuff. It'll probably be a good match. But you look at what they're doing going to Wembley and Omega and Ospreay, and that's probably the big draw over there. So, and I mean, you look at, I'm not sure which pay-per-view it was one of the recent ones, but Swerve and Ospreay.
Right.
So yes, there's matches that will draw, and you just go, okay, this is going to be one of those matches that I'm looking forward to. And it's,
Right. But that's what I'm talking about when I said at the beginning, that depends on what promotion you're talking about.
Right.
That great wrestling supersedes the character development or even storylines, AEW versus WWE, because AEW, their storytelling ain't worth a shit, but their matches are great. I mean, every pay-per-view they put on, the matches, that's why we tune in. It ain't because of the storylines, because we bitch about every storyline because the storylines are weak.
Well, okay, but I'm going to give you a prime example. And everybody was looking forward to it. Well, we kind of knew where it was going to go. And anybody says this was a great match is out of their mind, and I'll disagree with you, my opinion. But I'm going to give you Brock and Oba, the Hell in the Cell match. That was not a great match,
right?
And people were looking forward to seeing that match,
right? Right. I watched that SummerSlam. The reason why I enjoyed the match wasn't so much because it was a great match, I mean, because of the emotional connection that I knew that this was going to be Brock Lesnar's last match. And because of that elevated that match more so than the match itself, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Grizzle, the last question for this example. Oh, no, I'm sorry. Question number 2 for this example. Was the interest about the match itself, the wrestlers, the championship, the storyline, or all of those things combined? I'm going to tell you that it was the match itself for me because, again, storyline, when it involves Kenny Omega, he bores me and he loses me. But you put him in the ring with someone that's good, it elevates it and it hooks you. Grizzle?
Yeah, the match itself, it built to that. An interesting point, you were just making with the Brock and Oba thing. I'm with Robbie. For me, that match was underwhelming. It wasn't what I wanted. I wanted more sizzle on my steak. I didn't get it. But after listening to Cornette's review of it, I went back and looked because I didn't even notice it. When Oba hits that power bomb, his fall from grace or whatever, I couldn't figure out why did Brock arch up so much. And Cornette called it. He was looking at where he was supposed to land. He was supposed to land on those boards.
Yeah.
And that was the part I'm like, why didn't he powerbomb on the boards? He was supposed to.
Right.
So I'm like, so going back and look on it now I'm really like, okay, now I see why the match kind of fell flat. They fucked it up. Anyways, back to this though. No, this one was the match itself. Story. I mean, promos were good and all that, but you wanted to see a match because you knew you were going to get, 2 great competitors. I mean, you put like Daniel Bryan or somebody in a match. Daniel Bryan's okay on a mic. He doesn't say anything that's inspiring. Moxley's boring on a mic, but you put the 2 in a match together and they put on a hell of a match. You can have 2 great competitors, but the story, if they can't do promos, whatever, you got to have the great match. And in this case, it was.
Look, the one of the best storylines ever in AEW, where it was a storyline that hooked me more so than a match, was MJF and CM Punk, Robbie. That was really good because they both were able to cut promos and they both hooked you. Versus Kenny Omega and MJF, there's a difference between the story, the promos that's being cut versus the story they tell in the ring. MJF and Omega told a much better story in the ring than they actually did outside of the ring, if that makes sense. Hence why the match was better than anything else. What's your opinion?
Right, yeah, but you have one guy that's great on the mic and one guy that's okay on the mic. But I'm going to go to another one, and the match definitely hooked you because he's not great. I don't think he's a great promos either. Some of the stuff he did that they did, and we're going to go through an AEW, was Swerve and Page, Adam Page, because Page is not great on the mic, but some of the actions that Page took, burning his house down, so there was different things that kind of hooked you. I mean, it just depends, again, the promotion wise, who it is, what, where it is. You could even do that in WWE with some of the stuff, like there's guys that are, good on the mic and other guys that aren't, but the match turns out to be pretty good.
Well, and this leads to number 3, Robbie. Does great wrestling become more effective when the audience already has an emotional reason to care? A perfect example, AEW Dynamite, and I talked about it earlier. Maya World, Chris Statlander, and Sheeta. Like I said, when I seen they announced this match, I didn't care. Not because they're bad wrestlers, obviously. They could do it much better than I could ever do it. On their worst day, they're better than me. It's because I don't have that emotional reason to care. They've not done, when I say they, creative, has not done a good job of hooking me. But the match, it was a good match, and I'm glad I didn't turn the TV off and I watched it. So does great wrestling become more effective when the audience already has an emotional reason to care, Robbie?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, if you have a reason to care and then you see the match more so, I'm going to take all 4 of them women in there, and not a knock on them, but all 4 of them, you put them on the mic and all of them are not good, and it's just some people aren't good on the mic. So, and I mean, Sheeta's horrible, and I think part of it's her language or just her accent, I've lost a train of thought where I want to go with it, but it's, the interpretation maybe between the way her accent or whatever, Statlander, she's okay. My World, okay. And same thing, you'd probably go back to the language barrier with Persephone or whatever. But as far as like all of them on the mic, they don't, there's nothing great about them, but the match was good. I mean, they did some good moves and everything. The match, once you watched it, we're like, this is a lot better than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, another good example, Grizzle, is Tekla. I don't think any of us at first liked Tekla, but then she started getting better and better, cutting promos, getting better in the ring. We got emotionally involved, and now all 3 of us, we love watching Tekla. She's entertaining. So again, does great wrestling become more effective when the audience already has an emotional reason to care?
Yes, I'm going to go back to the example we were just talking about when I mentioned the Americanos match. Right. I know you said you weren't a fan of all the extra stuff and all that, but when you had the run-ins, you had the promos, you had okay, we all know it's Kaiser under a mask. When he had his girlfriend as part of the announced part of it, and she got fired. When you had the mariachi guy and everything else, all of that was storyline leading up to that match. Without all that storyline, without the fans, and without mask versus mask, without knowing the seriousness of it, they could have wrestled the same match, but I don't think it would have had the same intensity. Right. That match needed the build. It was a great match, and it would still been a great, but it wouldn't have been the classic that everybody's saying match of the year without the emotional involvement. And they built so much emotional involvement that the fans were on their feet and screaming the entire time. That's emotional involvement. If that crowd wasn't behind it, that match they would have done the same match, but it wouldn't have been the same. It wouldn't have come across the same way.
Let's go to example number 5, the 30-minute television match. A 30-minute match isn't automatically bad. The problem occurs when the match takes up a significant portion of television without giving the audience a reason to become emotionally invested. A 30-minute championship match between two wrestlers fans desperately want to see can feel important. A 30-minute match between two wrestlers with little character development can feel like a chore to watch. We see them all the time. Robbie, is a 30-minute match too long for a weekly television show?
Yeah, and I'm going to give you prime examples. A lot of because they'll let them go. They probably seem longer than the 20 minutes, but your Intercontinental Championships on AEW with some of the guys that are there. There's just people you either go, I know he's going to lose, or whatever. You're just not invested in them, or whatever, and they let them go. And you're just kind of like, okay, let's get this over with. I know who's winning, or whatever. I mean, that's my example. It depends on the people that's in it. Like if you put people that people are invested in or whatever, yeah, they want it. It doesn't seem like it because you're like, wow, this is great. Same like, well, we go back to the mask versus mask at Americano and stuff like that. That was one of those matches, but it was like, wow, this is a great match, But you take the Intercontinental Championship and you put like Claudio against, Joe Blow or whatever. They could probably do the same moves, but everybody's like, whatever.
Right. Grizzle, I'm going to combine the first two questions because Robbie kind of hit on it. Again, is the 30-minute match too long for weekly television, or does the match length matters if the audience is emotionally invested?
A 30-minute match on weekly television, in my opinion, is not a good idea, regardless of your emotional investment, because of one thing. You're watching a great match on AEW. You're watching a great, on AEW. Oh, we're going to this. We'll be back. We're going to picture-in-picture. Right. Let me see that. And you lose your interest in that great match because they had to go to a commercial break. Same thing with WWE, with SmackDown or whatever. They go to commercial in a great match. Okay, let me look at this. And you lose it. You can have a 30-minute match or so at, like, say, at a PLE, like a Mania. We all watched Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins go, almost an hour? But you didn't have Michael Cole going, this is WrestleMania. We'll be right back after this commercial break. Let me watch that. No, you can't do it on TV because you can't, unless you do it commercial free. Your fans are gonna lose their interest because you're cutting them off. It's like someone on a feeding tube in the hospital, and they're like, "Oh, I'm getting my nutrients. Oh, let me pinch that tube off for a minute." Well, shit.
Right.
Kind of the same thing, Yeah. Except that could kill them. But they're into it. Oh, I'm enjoying this. We're not taking it away from your fan. We're just gonna sever it for a minute. Let me watch it on a little tiny. Okay. Oh, we're back. Okay. Whatever.
Right. Guys, we're going to make this into a 2-part series. We're going to finish the last 5 next week just because of the lengthy conversations of this topic. Next Thursday, same topic, but we're going to be talking about false finishes. We're going to be talking about social media and 5-star matches. We're also going to be talking about the casual viewer and much more. So subscribe to the podcast so you don't miss part 2 of the after recap discussion. The work rate trap, why great wrestling is ruining wrestling TV. Robbie, you and I coming up October, Lutz, Florida. Talk to us about it.
Okay, so October 10th on a Saturday, the final GrappleCon 5. This is it. So if you're anywhere in the Lutz area on that Saturday, you want to come out. They got a great lineup. You got Manny Fernandez, you got Tommy Wildfire Rich, Fred Ottman, the One Man Gang, the blonde guy from the Nasty Boys,
Brian Knobs.
Is that who it is? Is Knobs? I don't.
Knobs is the blonde. Jerry Sags has the dark hair.
Okay, all right. Well, I know I knew it was Hobbs and Skaggs and stuff, but I just didn't know who was
Knobs
who.
and Sags.
Okay, all right. I knew that, but whoever. So, Coco Beware.
He's the black guy with the bird, right? Yeah.
Yes, yes. There's quite a few other people. Tony Gurria. So, and then some others that are going to be there. So it'll be a good lineup.
Yeah.
It'll be well worth it. It'll be well worth to go to the final one.
Yeah, and Robbie and I is going to be there. We'll be there on Friday night. Some things are happening, so come by and see us.
Yeah, and then even Bob Cook will be there, so we'll make sure he takes a picture. If you want to get a picture with Bob Cook, we'll make sure.
Get over here, you bastard! Take that picture.
So you might have to give him a Mountain Dew, but we'll make sure he'll take a picture with you.
And then, guys, Monday the 24th, this coming Monday at 9 a.m. Mountain Time, 11 a.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Central. Vince Russo is going to be here. We're going to be talking about his book, and God knows whatever else we're going to be talking about. Join us because this is going to be an interesting conversation. Grizzled, I know you've been dealing with some stuff. You have anything coming up?
Wrestle Memories this week. We're going to be going into the archives just because health-wise I haven't been able, so I'm getting back on track. Next week, I have a new episode of Talking Off the Top Rope. Have not decided who my guest is going to be. I have a few in the bank that I can put up. Currently, my last interview with Milan Murray Burke from University of Texas Arlington, talking about wrestling, Texas wrestling history, experience wrestling, and the Texas Wrestling History Initiative is up. It's actually turning into be my most watched episode. Not just wrestling, but we talk about her as a woman in a very male-dominated section of professional wrestling as a historian. But I have to throw in one special one because we are not on tomorrow night because two people are going to be going to the Rob Zombie Marilyn Manson concert. Motherfuckers. Assholes. I've seen Rob Zombie, but I've never seen Manson. I'm a little jealous. God damn it. But tomorrow, the 21st of August, my baby girl, my youngest, my baby, I'm going to have a third teenager in the house. My daughter, Ailish, will be turning 13 tomorrow. So I want to make sure I was going to wish her a happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
I'm just going to do it at night early.
Yep. Guys, be watching for me to be on Evan Ginsberg podcast. That is going to be interesting as well.
That's a nice way to put it.
Yep. Yep.
And hopefully in a couple weeks, my second book will be out.
Yes.
So we're hoping for it. It's with my publisher, and we're shooting for it. Hopefully the end of the month, but hopefully within a couple weeks it'll be out.
Hey Robbie, my birthday is October 1st, just to kind of just
okay. Well, I'm hoping
God,
I have that second.
Fucking spud.
Hey, I got the Raw Dog Robbie Idol shirt hanging on the wall over here.
I have to give him credit, unfortunately, because if it wasn't for him pushing, saying you need to write another book.
Hey, I proofread a few of your chapters and gave you an opinion. Damn it.
I know.
I am the inspiration.
But he was the one that kept going, oh, you should write another book. You should write another book.
Yeah, it's because he wanted to be in a book. Guys, also, let's say again, I have Vince Russo Monday. On Wednesday of next week, I have a Gene Jackson. And on Friday, I'm doing double duty of next week because I have Colton Theron Vaughn is going to be on. He is a UFC guy and a big time indie wrestler. I promise you guys are going to be hearing a lot more of his name. So check that out. Again, normally we'd be doing the recap of Friday Night SmackDown, but Robbie Idol and myself and Robert Cook, we're going to be going to a concert, Marilyn Manson and Rob Zombie tomorrow night. So we'll be hanging out, having fun. While Grizzled, he gets
so if there's any of the subscribers that will be there tomorrow night, you can get a big group photo with us. And Robbie Idol will be there with his current wife and his ex-wife. So
I didn't know all that. Damn it. I'm going to be there with my wife, my current and only wife.
Well, I joke with her. She's an ex, so Kelly will be with us too.
Awesome. Those will be good times. Yeah, Robert Cook, our Bob Cook's son, and his wonderful wife Erin is going to be with us as well. So yeah, if you guys are in Tampa, you see me, see Robbie, come say hello, come take a picture with us. Until then, gentlemen, I will see you, Robbie, on Tuesday night for Monday Night Raw recap. Did we like it? Did we love it?
Tomorrow night.
Yeah.
Well, I'm talking about the podcast now.
Yeah, we got to promote the podcast.
Jesus Christ.
Now it's hell with Robbie Idol.
Yeah, God damn it. We'll see you on the podcast, guys, Tuesday for the recap of Raw. But don't forget about Vince Russo on Monday morning. Until then, gentlemen, have a great weekend. Talk to you guys soon.
See ya.